This is my grandpa's geocaching talk show.
Hello geocachers, welcome to episode 1, our very first show as Hiker James After Cache. I know a lot of people out there are wondering what this show is about. Well, everybody has their weekends of geocaching, and everybody has their geocachings during the week. So what I had put together here is that if you had an adventure or a story you wanted to let us play over on the show, an event, or just got together with some friends and discuss some geocaching puzzles or whatever, this would be something interesting for the listeners out there to see what's going on around the world. And what I was wanting to do today is drop in one of the voice messages that we have received from Amber, the Ginger Geocacher. So we're going to just take a short little pause here and let you listen to her story.
Hey, it's the Ginger Geocacher. Last weekend, I went to my first geocaching event. It was hosted by Geocaching Headquarters, which was awesome. It was at the GPS Adventures Maze in Huntsville, Alabama. It was a launch event for it. I actually got to meet Miss Jen, one of the lackeys, and a bunch of other geocachers, and I was recognized by a bunch of geocachers who watched my videos, and it was awesome. It was so much fun. There was 15 lab caches, so it was a load of fun. Yeah. Maybe I'll be calling in the next couple of weeks. Catch you later.
All right, thanks Amber for the call-in message, and we hope you enjoyed yourself. I know that we'll be hearing from you soon. All right, let's see what we can do next here. Well, I went out geocaching this weekend, and I have something I need to express to all the geocachers out there that some of you probably have done this before. I had my GPS loaded with some geocaches last year, and I decided that it's about time to go out and find them. So I drove probably 25 miles, and I get out of the car, turn my GPS on, and I start my hunt. Well, the first one was a DNF, so I got in the car and drove across town to the second one. The second one was a DNF, and I'm getting a little aggravated by now. So I get back in the car and I drive probably 3 miles south of town, and there's another DNF. Well, I'm getting more aggravated because I'm wasting all this time and not finding anything. So I went to the next one and found it. Alright, so anyway, to make the long story short, I went back home and I was going to look up the ones that I had on there and show DNF on them that I couldn't find them, and the one was so obvious that it should have been there, but it wasn't. So I went to the page and searched for that geocache, and it wasn't on the page. So I went to the map and looked it up on the map and went to this town that I was at, and none of those DNFs that I found were on the map. Well, what had happened, they were archived and taken off sometime between last year and now. So if you've got any old coordinates on your GPS, before you go all the trouble and time to go look for them, look them up again. Make sure they're there. Make sure that people have been finding them. If if they showed that they were there and people were finding them a year ago, that doesn't mean they're going to be there this time. So that's a pretty good little hint to all the geocachers to make sure that they're actually there before you go out. Okay, and then another email that I'd received from Redbeard4570. Finally hit milestone number 600 with cache GC4ZWJ1. A hometown hero, Kansas. This turned into a Audiosin Hides Day, and this was find number 4. It was also a milestone for me, number 600. This is now on my best caches list. Well done in so many ways. A great way to remember and say thanks to local hero who went down fighting. Log was damp but signed it okay. One of my tag-along non-cacher friends spotted it before I did. And oh yes, she has and will remind of this for a long time to come. Thanks again for this special hide. Thanks for the cache. Signed log. Took nothing, left nothing. So there you go. We've had one voice message and we've had one email. And it's simple. It's easy to do, and we're waiting for others to give us the information and finds all the adventures and stories and puzzle caches and whatever it is that you want to talk about that's related to geocaching. Just help us out there and send us that. I might mention that also, if you have an event that you think would be interesting, you could send that to me, and as long as you get it to me before the event, it would be a future event, and it would have to be after our next airing on the show, which I will be putting these out on each Sunday. And so if the event is past that next Sunday, you can go ahead and send that to me and we'll read that or play your voice message as well. Alright, now I'm going to run through a few other things here before we let this show go. And I don't want to take up a lot of time for being the first show. But from after this, so we're trying to run it for 45 minutes. And hopefully we will get enough people to send a voice message or an email that we can actually absorb some of that time. Yeah, well, I'll tell you, this is the first show that we've done, and I know there's not a whole lot of activity going on right now, but give it time. I give it time to let people get back with me and let me know something of what's going on in their outdoor adventures of geocaching. So for now, we're going to go ahead and end this show. And like I said, this is a pre-recorded show, so it takes a little time to make it. But one thing about it, I can cover my mistakes. It's not like going live. Now, we're going to go ahead and call it a day on this show, and hope to hear from someone before next week so we can put theirs on the air. And we'd like to have the emails and voice messages in by 10 o'clock Eastern New York time on a Friday. 10 p.m. Friday Eastern New York time. So wherever you are, check that time zone and see how much time you have to get that in. Like I said, we have to put it together and upload it and everything. So I could do a live show, but it's awful hard to do a live show when there's nobody else there to talk to. I tried that on the other show, and it's awful hard to talk for an hour. Talk to the wall and make sense for a whole hour. But this one, like I said, if I get the stuttering out a lot and like that, and stuff like that, I can go back and change that. So I hope this sounds fairly decent to everybody out there that's listening, and we will see you again next week on Hiker James After Cache. See everybody next week.